Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's Shirley with Spirit of Matter, and I'm in the second episode of Water Expands Upon Cooling. You wonder, why am I smiling? Then I'll tell you what the chart of this recording. And so this is a series that tends to the astrology of prevention of assassination and murder, and in general, prevention of assassination and murder, rethinking medical warfare, and all things 22 related. So this is very much inspired by both Nicolas Stojanovic, who discovered the degree theory, as well as the 22nd degree, the 18th degree, and the 11th degree that have to do with different types of letalities. And it's not impossible that was assassinated as well by poisoning, which we called COVID. And so I haven't seen a chart, but it's just putting it on the line, so that would be an assassinated astrologer as well. And this is a series that I do towards Uranus coming to the 22nd degree of Taurus. It's pinpointed in my chart. My lot of spirit is on this degree. My Mars is right opposing retrograde in my natal chart. And this is the time also to commemorate one of the major inspiration for this series, and this is Peter R. de Vries, who dedicated decades of his life to solving cold cases. This is where I derived the name of this series from. Is the understanding that no case is a cold case. So when you turn to a missing person case or a murder case, we're not less interested in it the more time passes, but actually more. And this series, I will talk about more significations of this. And another base for the name of Water Expands Upon Cooling is the property of water. Water expands upon cooling, unlike other materia that contracts. So, without further ado, today we're going to talk about significations, asteroids, Neptune, and things that bring in solutions. This is why I'm smiling. You see me smiling. What to do when we talk about all types of intentional killings and intentional murders. And so this is both a solution to cold cases, when they can rise, when they can pop up, even after years or decades after. And this is also, yes, hoping to tend also to furthermore, which is before the murder, and what can be done. I will look at it more structurally. First of all, I want to give reverence to and astrologers who look into asteroids. One of them is Victor from Astro Victor. And I know also Trifon looks at asteroids and have deep asteroids teachings. What is asteroids in astrology? It's basically those little sky beings that carry names. For example, before the 7th of October, the asteroid Israel was conjuncting the eclipse point and the ascendant that was around the ascendant of Israel. So the asteroid Israel, just the asteroid, you can think about it kind of like a nervous system. So one of the hypotheses is no pure locality and no pure not locality in the brain, I believe. But one of the hypotheses to do is kind of like the cells that carry a certain name. So if you remember these neuroscience journals that said, oh, you have, what was it? I don't know. You have a Kim Jong-un brain cell in you. So this is very much the closest to analogy to this is asteroids. We have a lot of asteroids, both in astrosig.com and in astro.com. You can take a look at even your chart and take a look at various names of asteroid. I, for example, have Fairbanks next to my Venus, and Rockefeller around my midheaven. So I don't know. But asteroids' names are going to be associated, and they're going to come up at times where relevant events to that name happen. Okay. So, for example, I have the asteroid Babylon, I think next to my midheaven, and both in mathematics, I remember from Feynman the exact example from Babylonian mathematics versus Hellenistic or Greek mathematics, the axiomatic mathematics versus Babylonian mathematics. I support Babylonian more, but I also have Babylonian mathematics on my chart. One of the astrologers that is very inspiring to me is Gracia Tassio, who is a Babylonian astrologer. And I also encountered a man whom I thought was Slavic, but then he told, no, we're neighbors. He says from Syria, and he said that he's Babylonian. So this kind of repetitive name that is associated with my life mission. If you wonder how this person was related to this, well, I still don't know it myself all that much. But definitely when it comes to the astrology, or when it comes to the mathematics, when it comes to reasoning. And yes, this person told me that the minorities, let's say the Christians in Syria, they preferred Assad because otherwise they would be genocided. But then Assad was not, had been very violent when he kept his regime as well in Syria. So this is how I got to know of one such a study case that unfortunately is becoming more and more relevant. Now, how do you work with these asteroids? So let's say you're looking at a cold case, or let's say you're looking at the case of someone. I want you to take a look at the skies, and I want you to take a look at where that asteroid that is the closest to either the name of this person or the name of something associated with maybe how they died, it's going to pop up. The best would be when the asteroid that is associated with those who kind of like involved in the killing would pop up. But this is a great technique that you can use. And you also want to go to the astrology. And for this, yes, both Astrovictor is relevant, Trifon is relevant for the study of asteroids. You can find both through Lada Duncheva. I don't know if she has a course on the asteroids. That would be fascinating. You can understand from the asteroid story in astrology something that's relevant about the case. Okay, for example, I'm not going to say names because I do tend to actual cases. And for example, one asteroid's name can be associated with telling the truth, but people don't believe you. And later it's kind of like an I told you so. So this is something that you can expect that is going to be involved. Let's say that you look at a murder case of a person like this, or trying to prevent a murder case of a person like this. This person is missing, this person is seeking help. You want to be extra cautious to listen to people whom you might not believe. Okay, and you see, okay, maybe it's that playing out. Maybe this is playing out so that I'm not believing what they say to me now, but later they will tell me I told you so. So if I have this awareness to look for the I told you so moment, so I can petition this asteroid to say I want to get to the I told you so person moment without this person being dead. So what can we do that we are believed, or maybe be assisted by other things in the sky for an astrologer or consulting with astrologer, assisting by other things in the sky. I said I was smiling because the chart of today, so the moon is very much on Aldebaran. So let's give a little praise to Aldebaran. Aldebaran is victorious. Moon is housing, is people. So let's give a little petition to Aldebaran and give reverence to Aldebaran for housing that is supportive of the livelihood of children, the right to exit violence, housing for peoples and lands for peoples, and for that to be victorious in favor of saving children from being exploited or Epstein, from abolishing childhood, so being victorious in abolishing childhood. For example, in Epstein Island, children can have the island. Okay, so the moon is also housing, is food, so the correct nourishment and being victorious in favor of the livelihood of children and the livelihood of people, abolishing exploitable children praxis, which includes not only the Epstein Island, when expendable children used to spies to extort people, yes, and of course these people are accountable, but you can also not be in those circles without being exploitable, which means without sleeping with children. So to abolish this structure altogether and to give land, to give housing that is actually supportive of the nervous system of people, and to have technology, okay, that is supportive of the nervous system, is genuinely supportive of the nervous system. Aldebaran gives being victorious, okay, especially now with Mercury on the 22nd degree. So let's say being victorious, and for this being materially victorious as well, in the sense that the safety, the wealth and well-being of both this broadcaster and and the children, and the topics of discussions, and the people who favorably tend to this topic will be granted, will be ensured. Okay, tending to these things is not giving up wealth, but unlocking gates to more wealth, unlocking the gates. Okay, opening doors. So that's one of the placements. The other was the midheaven on the 18th degree of Aquarius with Saturn in Pisces. So we're tending to medical warfare, get to the science of poisoning. Okay, Aquarius science, 18th degree, poisoning. So tending to the science of poisoning, abolishing with Saturn in Pisces, abolishing the types of medical warfare that is used against civilians, that is used non-consensually, abolishing death bans, not only in China, okay, but this practice of death bans that preceded also the concentration camps in Germany. It was not just for the Jews, they were for everyone who was deemed unfavored by the regime, which means everyone, eventually including Hitler. He had to poison himself. He poisoned his dog. He poisoned himself. Okay, so the abolishing of poisoning of the people as medical warfare, especially when presented as medicine. Okay, Neptune is also disguised, and Pisces is also disguised. So poisoning disguised as medicine, the abolishing of poisoning disguised as medicine for the people that have the right to live and to give them access to life, which we can call on Aldebaran again. And we had a lot of fortune on the 22nd degree. Why is it a lot of fortune? Why am I so smiling about it? Because this is another signification that this is fated to tend to this right now. And the 22nd degree is not too far from Procyon. So Procyon is a fixed star to call to. Procyon is the great denucleificator. And I am a great advocate for raising the awareness between understanding that the existence of the praxis of expandable children and expandable people is the reasoning, a part of the reasoning for existence of such mass destruction weapons, such as A-bombs. Okay, just today, we might be nuked today. I'm in the Negev region, and about, I think I'm more than 40 kilometers from Dimonos. I'm not within the 16 kilometers that range. I think it's even less, because it's probably they're not selling a Tsar bomba. Or we don't, I don't know, I don't think I have no idea what we got there. And I would never, they would never let in me on this, because as you see, I do not keep secrets. So, yes, I'm not an insider in that way. But right now I'm situated in Israel, and we were told to stay in like Beersheba, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and so on, because they might bomb Haifa or Dimona, which is where the nukes are. But I've seen on YouTube that there are like nets of like nuclear stuff, like they can blow up the entire country. But we have midheaven on Procyon, and so it's a good time to call on Procyon. Procyon is the great denucleificator, both in the Cuba Missile Crisis when JFK had his midheaven engulfed and Saturn engulfing Procyon, and for the abolishing of apartheid, where Mandela had his son on Procyon. Both these guys, what they did, they understood what was not working. So JFK was Gemini. He established a line of communication between the White House and the Kremlin. So as of 1963, there's a direct hotline between the Kremlin and the White House, and he terminated basically, supposedly, the Cold War. But you understand that these guys, they talk to each other, yes? But still, Edward Snowden can sit in Russia and not be extradited to the United States. So there's intricacy to these things, and we're very blessed that we got to know about surveillance. Another thing relevant to surveillance and technology is ASML, that is creating nanochips the size of dust, which is fascinating technology that can both keep us connected. Good studies would be, the frequency, if we have this technology on healing frequencies for humanity, not intervening in healing, but assisting in healing, that can be very supportive. But this is a company, for example, if they strike for 22 days, they have the funding to do that, and all the nanochips are on a halt, and this has the power to abolish child trafficking. So it's a call to ASML to do so, and with the deep understanding that such an act would not impair on the profit of the company, but rather unlock more gates of wealth. More living children is also more clients, and technology that is actually on the frequency of assisting in, whether it's not necessarily healing, but that is healthy for us. Yes, if you have something small the size of dust, that you can put this dust in a way that doesn't interfere with well-being, but actually supports well-being. I believe this can be done, and yes, I can, and this is considered my idea. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't trying to create a patent, but this is considered my idea. It is already in written. Yes, I have this documented before this video, but now you have a testimony. But that was not my intention. My intention is that if they strike for 22 days to commemorate the use of warfare and poisoning against civilians, to kidnap children, to the practice of expendable children, then a lot can be done. And this is a company that can shut down the entire world and help assist in denuclearification. Okay, because if we cannot denucleify, if there are masses of people that are aching for a solution, to just poof out of the world. But what we can do is to make life more accessible. And contrary to what some people who sleep with children believe, it's just so that the people on Epstein Island, many of them have the opinion that they could die and come up as a virus. Like I think Bill Gates was on Epstein Island. Yes, it's okay to say this. Oh, he believed that if he would die, he would come back as a virus, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, yes, of course, if he's the person who sleeps with children, and maybe at some point they were exploited in some way, and they tried to heal, and then somebody put a child, who gave them MDMA, say this will heal you, put the child in the room, and they slept with the child, perhaps guided, and then it was photographed. Then now there's nothing they can do. They will have to do everything that's been told. Of course, they want to kill humanity, and it's understandable from their vantage point of view, but it doesn't mean that the people cannot interfere and abolish this praxis, and be open to the idea that the trees miss our presence. The trees want people around them. The trees want children hugging them. The land needs people stepping on it. Okay, animals running, but also people playing, children playing, and this is good for our immune system. It's good for the ecosystem as well. We're not such a damage to humanity, and the people who think in this way, they have good reason to think in this way. And there is also an intricacy to how they got to be in this position where they sleep with children. So we are tending to abolish the entire praxis to make it not accessible for them to sleep with children. Very simple. And when it comes to land, when it comes to what will we do, usually when you talk about child trafficking, how will we house they're on Epstein Island, they're on islands, they are like they can get this as housing. Yes, but they can live somewhere else, but this would be their property. Solution is so easy. In those realms, okay, we just need and I have another whole episode about this. So Procyon is about basically tending to those things within that can denucleify the situation, de-escalate, denucleify, sweeten a conflict, and avoid like a nuclear holocaust. We can do this. We just need to understand what is this associated with, and I will have more episodes on that. Another planet we can turn to in chart is, of course, Deneb Algedi, which is wealth redistribution. I've just addressed this. And protecting the truth. Seeing the truth and protecting the truth. How does my kitten manage to sleep next to me when I record? I have no idea. But they have this look on their face with closed eyes. It's like, this is too much noise. So for this episode, I want you what I want you to take away is the importance of asteroids, not just the 22nd degree, 18th degree, and 11th degree, but of asteroids with the names associated with those involved around the case. Look at asteroids, look at what asteroids are around the case of the murder, but also of the natal chart. Around yes, there will be many asteroids, but also the family members and so on. But look at which asteroids pop up. And this tells you also not only what name, what case, what person, but also what can you predict around this process, okay? Is it difficult to be believed when you have information? It's kind of like an I told you so case. Okay, petition the asteroid, ask for solutions, see what other planets can assist you. I just named a few. And so as for the Vordermord, so this is both rethinking medical welfare, okay, both rethinking our investments as well, because most of us, even if you live on welfare, you're invested in this way. You are paying taxes, even when you are receiving funding from the government, you're paying taxes. So is thinking about this and understanding the mindset that abolishing those type of practices is not bad for the earth. People living is not bad for the earth. Abolishing child trafficking is not bad for the earth, and there is wealthy solutions. There are good solutions at base. So this is not something you should feel helpless around, or not something you don't have points of interference, and I'm going to tackle each and every point of interference that comes my way to do this. And the power of companies, okay, to shut down the system, yes, instead of you think about all this hacking and stuff like that. It's not, you don't have to wait for such things to happen. The company that has kind of like the key, it can withdraw away those types of wealth. And this was also helping us investors. Okay, if I want to invest in ASML, it's difficult for me because I need to understand what is it doing. If it's involved in welfare, it's difficult for me. Okay, it's kind of like investing in my own demise. So I want to invest. I want to put my money when I want to allocate resources to some place, in this place, and the door is unlocked. I will get more money. I will get more resources. I would put it in this place of rising technology, and you will only have more customers. Okay, so we should not be afraid to withdraw our attention for the malefic to us, and to, which is what I'm doing with this series, to direct our attention to the points of intervention and to building a better future. And this also assists in denuclearification. tremendously. So who knows, this may be a company that has the chip on denuclearification as well. So that's important. These are my takeaways for this episode. I will talk about Neptune in the next episode. I'm trying to make this series kind of more digestible. I know this is a listening series, so this is a good time for you to stretch up your body, to drink something that's good to you, and or to take a walk, or to drive in your car and just listen to this. If you are so inclined, you can also write notes in your notebook that are relevant to these things. And I always try to make something that is for astrologers, but something that is also for the people. You don't have to be an astrologer, but you have to understand what people are talking about when they do use astrology, and it's not that difficult. And there are also takeaways for you that you can implement even today without being an astrologer. So I hope this helps. If you want cases for me to look at, and you have the permission of that there is that I'm allowed to look at publicly, is okay. Cannot promise too much around this, but you can also begin to look at this yourselves. So thank you.